Everyone says you started crying in the middle of a firefight and then bled like a pig. I guess that was cool. People, they say you'd kind of died for a moment, that you let your shit out already, but then came back. So I guess that's what's cool now. Just don't think because you got half your dick shot off and you're an invalid now, Kuno's gonna treat you different. Kuno doesn't reward weakness. It's business as usual with Kuno. Kuno's cold like that. The fuck about it? Your test.
Get lost!
Yeah? The kingdom. Yeah, whatever. The fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister. Watch out, pig. It's a dangerous world out there. But Kuno's got his eyes on you. Who knows? Kuno saw you wield that can. Sweet graffito action, pig. Kuno likes that delinquent shit. Fuck no! Ah, shit! That's right, pig. Shit. Fuck does Kuno care?
I'll die before I squeal, pig. I come from the woods, good Davitu. You don't want to go there with me. You don't want to see what I've seen.
Don't be traumatizing here. Get the fuck out of here.
All around you, rain falls on the great city of Rivershore. Rain drips from the eaves and floods the gutters, washing the filth away. Winter's grip on the city is loosening. The spring thaw is here. Your shirt sticks to your chest. The shoulders of your jacket grow heavy. The cold finds its way under your skin. You shiver, and the city shivers with you. You're not dressed for this weather. You should get an overcoat or a patrol cloak. Sheets of rain over the water, a flight of stairs leading into the ocean. Wave after wave washing the coast of Martinez, with its motorboats and gently swaying reeds. The ruins of a half-sunken sea fort crumble on an inlet beyond the Bay of Revachol. Ghosts rise into the sky. The skyscrapers of La Delta, the financial district. Faint golden light seeps from the office windows. Will you ever go there? No, you are just one of the hundreds of thousands who watch them rise across the bay from Martinez every day. Urban coastline, rain dripping off Eternite-covered roofs, cinder blocks left over from half-finished construction, a defunct research and development building, once seized by revolutionaries. An old wooden church stands on stilts above the water. Coal City, end of all lines. Your hair is an oily mess flecked with ash from neighboring coal plants. Smokestacks rise somewhere in the distance. There's a fleet on the corner. A plastic coat is folded into a small triangle under the counter by the window. Beyond that, the strikebreakers have gathered. The great gates of the industrial harbour are locked. A chill runs down your back. You shudder like an animal trying to shake water from its hide. Behind the gates, heaps of supply crates, red and blue metal shipping containers, slick with rain. The Greater Revachol Industrial Harbour is an artificial mountain range. Immense wealth resides within, and immeasurable poverty in its shadow. La Drusienne, King Dries passenger harbour. Cruise ships flanked by dock arms, cranes watching over the mouth of the river distributary. Couronne, the lower middle class. Distributary after distributary cuts the city blocks in half. 7-story buildings trail off into the rain. A silvery curtain of rain over the houses. The class divide. You have never been there. They don't need the law east of the river. Capeside apartments. Tower blocks crowd one another. 4.46mm bullets still lodged in their war-torn stone walls. Hallways collapse from the mortar hits of a war that was lost long ago. Clotheslines go to waste in the rain. Radios play. The morning news. A yard. Rain falls onto the roof of a woodshed. The lingering odor of decomposition mixes with that of damp soil. A traffic jam. Rain thrumming on the roofs of motor vehicles. Inside, drivers watch water streaming down their windshields. The statue of a king shudders. He too is cold. The canal bridge has been raised. The road ascends. A raised motorway loops above the ghetto. Beneath its concrete columns, a sea of rooftops, woodwork, and tar stretches northward. 4-story buildings as far as the rain can fall. The snows melt in Jamrock.
I've a brother in the cut. Where the wood at?
To be in Martinaise, where no one goes, at the runoff point of a long-forgotten canal, in the whitest part of town, in the shadow of the day the revolution failed. Standing in the rain, looking north, where Jamrock Rock City stretches inland. In the rain-swept distance, above the rooftops of Jamrock, a repurposed silk mill stands perched above the motorway exit. Precinct 41 hunches in the rain. Your vision blurs. You wipe your face with your hand. The rain stings your eyes, making you look up and blink. More coalition aerostatics, way up there, where rain forms. Rotors flutter silently. Your sight clears.
This rain will not let up anytime soon. I'd recommend you put on your coat.
Oh my god! Things have gotten out of hand! I thought the psychic stuff was bad, but the crime! It's even worse! I haven't been able to come to work for 3 days. The shop has been locked. No sales, gangbangers running around, shooting everyone. I know I shouldn't have bought a shop in this ghetto. Oh my god, even the police can't take care of all this. Just look at you. You're a wreck. Someone should do something about this. Maybe I should close the bookstore and open a psychic studio. Yes. It makes sense. I could teach people to protect themselves against bad energies and to fight crime.
Yes, what Martinez really needs is more vigilantes roaming the streets.
Exactly. It's a brilliant idea. Thank you, officer. I'm going to start drawing up business plans right away. In the meantime, do buy the books. As many as you can. They won't...
Hi, Ace Detective. Are you here for more books? Which book was it, sir? Oh, I'm very sorry, sir. I haven't read that one yet. I wish I could help you.
Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels featuring the crime fiction. These books great furthermore. What's more, they completely ignore the psychological, not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, would you like a list of all the books found on the shelf? Shelves filled to the brim with Six crumbling petals rest on your palm. They're white.
As I said, an insulindian...
This flower is a spring flower, but it's a bit early for that, isn't it? The petals filled water flows under the channel bridge. Dark water. You rub your sides for warmth, but there is none. The feeling recedes. In your hand, you hold 4/5. Why? There's truly no point. You'll never know who did it, because those pages have literally been scattered to the wind. If you insist. But again, it's really pointless. The story opens with Spillane needs Mullen to drive him in from Vespa to a small town along the Insulindium coast. Despite his friend's apparent agitation, Mullen does as he's asked, then returns home, where he passes out drunk, as he does most nights. 2 days later, Mullen is arrested by the Vespa police and charged with the murder of Charlie Spillane. At his interrogation, Mullen learns that Charlie Spillane was shot in a bar in the very town Mullen dropped him off in by a man matching Mullen's description. Desperate to clear his name, Mullen manages to convince the Vespa police to release him for 3 days so that Mullen may solve his friend's murder and prove his innocence. Of course, Mullen didn't do it. That's the whole premise of the book. Anyway, Mullen returns to the seaside bar where Spillane was murdered and meets a beautiful, mysterious woman named Diana Denerva. Denerve reveals that she was Spillane's lover and that he was mixed up with a local amphetamine smuggling operation. As soon as Mullen begins pulling at strings, the whole conspiracy begins to unravel. Not only is the local police captain in on the amphetamine ring, so is the son of a powerful politician and a strung-out art collector named Torvald, each of whom has his own reasons for wanting Spillane dead. One evening, Deanna Deneuve comes to Mullen's hostel room in tears. The two of them drink half a bottle of vodka, and soon they're seeking comfort in each other's arms. Yes, comfort and pleasure. The warmth of another human's touch. The burning taste of liquor on her full, sweet lips. As the two lovers share a post-coital cigarette, Deanna Deneuve turns to Mullen and says, "By the way, Dick, there was something else I meant to tell you. I love you." The name of the true killer. Always aim for the center of mass. Whatever it is, Mullen never hears the words. A blow to the base of his skull knocks him out cold instantly. Who can you trust in this wicked, messed up world? The lieutenant gives you a quizzical expression in return. You go back to the story. When Mullen comes to, Deneuve is dead on the hostel bed next to him. To make matters worse, his clothes are covered with her blood. Mullen trashes his blood-stained clothes and flees the hostel, knowing it's only a matter of hours before the cops discover Deneuve's body. If the heat is on, if Dick Mullen can't solve both murders before the cops catch up to him, he's going away for life. And you'll never know what happens, because the rest of the book is gone. What makes you think this isn't the final Dick Mullen case? How do you know this isn't the final case? This could go on forever. End it now. In your hand, you hold forth Medicinal Purposes of the Pearl. The cover of this heavy tome features a number of esoteric symbols. Very well. First, choose a base ingredient. Next, you'll need to combine the base ingredient with an appropriate vehicle. Lastly, is there anything else you'd like to add? You've created a delicious tincture of whiskey and ginger. According to the pharmacopoeia, it should increase your energy and focus, though in your experience, it's only done the opposite. Would you like to try again? Very well. First, choose a base ingredient. Next, you'll need to combine the base ingredient with, lastly, is there anything? You've created a delicious tincture of whiskey and ginger. Would you like to? Very well. Next, you'll need to lastly, is there any? You've created a delicious. Would you like to try again? You close the book and find yourself flipping through the book. You find a number of sections on the general benefits of the pearl. A large pharmacopoeia makes up nearly half of the book. You come across the following explanation. While modern pharmacopoeia are continually updated by so-called experts based on the results of clinical trials, readers will find assembled here the timeless wisdom relied upon by generations of traditional Seolite medicine practitioners, Mesk mystics, and Ilmaran folk doctors. It's all quackery, in other words. Finally, something to calm the angry spirits that have been plaguing you. It seems to contain descriptions of the medicinal properties of various ingredients that may be gathered from the pearl, as well as instructions for producing a variety of herbal remedies. What you're describing is booze. You don't need any herbs for that. There's nothing in here that speaks to hangovers directly. However, While browsing through the various descriptions, you become convinced that you could assemble something from the ingredients listed here. Want to give it a shot? First, you need to choose a Lastly, you've created. Would you like to try again? You close the book and find yourself staring at the familiar. Give up. You'll never find the answer. There's no other copy of Dick Mullen and the... Because that's how the world works. Some stories never get finished. You shouldn't expect there to be a tidy, satisfying ending. But, what if you never find out how your story ends? There isn't. If only you had more time, more resources. Who knows what you could have come up with? Maybe if there had been more money and less speed. Or more speed. Or that, yes. Either way, you might have been able to come up with an answer, but not like this. That's it. You got it. The whole shebang. The coat, the hat, the swindle so crooked a yeggman couldn't break it. Yeggman, that's either a safe breaker or someone who works almost exclusively with egg yolks. The deaths of Charlie Spillane and Deanna Deneuve, the case Dick Mullen was on. That's what this crooked swindle must be. This is how I always talk. Move on. The swindle. Cracked it like a discounter safe. You're right. He used to be more polite. Don't think like a cop. Cops don't solve cases. They slide nippers on the goons and take them into big houses. The Dicks, Gumhills, Hawkshaws, Peepers, Sleuths. Men like Mullen and you. This cop here solved 216 cases over 18 years. That's because you're a dick in cop's clothing. Underneath, a snooper through and through. If there's any doubt, consult your trusty Dick Mullen book and reconnect with the real you. Him, Dick Mullen. You, him, use, Modus Mullen. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Something is wrong. Only static hisses through the speaker. No reply. Only the mindless drone of static.
It's been this way for a while now. My guess is the Union is listening in on our conversations. and jamming outward communications to protect themselves from Cronel. It only happens when someone mentions the attack. The rest is unaffected. Our best bet is to carry on like nothing happened. That is, if we don't want us cut off the grid completely. No more dangerous than stepping between 3 armed mercenaries and 8 Union men, I hope. I don't like it either, but that's the way it is. The street seems safe enough to me. If anything, taking out the mercs made things calmer. For now. You can try calling again. Just don't mention the tribunal. And remember, they are listening in.
They're shutting you up, silencing you. Don't fucking drop your guard. Everything sounds okay. No drumbeat of total war yet. If anything, everything sounds too okay. In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a moment.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. Roger that. 10-10, over and out.
Mon Dieu, officer. It is worse than I thought. Believe me, I know all about that kind of pain. Maybe it's time to slow down and just...
The ham sandwich looks fresh and nutritious in your hand, begging to be eaten.
I'll pass. Thanks.
When you hold something up long enough, some people are compelled to take it. Try it on the lieutenant. The wrapper, soaked in tomato juice and mayo, is not gonna hold out forever. But for now, the sandwich retains its impressive composure. Boyadero stares at you with respect, then gestures towards the trickles of blood adorning your clothes.
There are types of danger. The one I'm usually concerned with is lung cancer or getting mauled by wildlife, not bullets. It calls back to an older era where this was commonplace, though. You have a true Boyadero heart. Hiding, gathering themselves. The harbor's in full lockdown, friend. No getting in or out, for the time being. No, man. Not today. Today is war.
He says it matter-of-factly, like it...
Time will tell. I'll tell Everard you dropped by. I'm sure he'll be glad. I'll be okay here, doing lookout. Quite the sight, aren't they? Getting to like that red I am. Don't worry about me. I live to alleviate the worries of our brothers. See if any insane killers turn up. Then I'll run. And live. I'm sure I'll be luckier than you, friend. My man, you're alive. Almost. Kind of. Sort of alive? Man, what a day. I missed out on most of the action, but I heard it was quite the encounter. Had a strong sense of finality to it. So what's next? You guys heading back to Jamrock now? Talk is local union muscle were behind it all. I'd reckon the case is closed, even if it kind of turned into a shit show. Good luck with that, my man. Ain't easy being you, but hey, you're still breathing, right?
Give me a moment.
The aging alcoholic is still there, breathing. The air in the room is stale. This door is made of no one answers.
Let's go.
The door is closed again. You hear someone inside. Walk in.
Limping down the street, bleeding from the shoulder, face bruised, looking like hell? You know what that is? Cool! That's cool!
The gnarled hawthorn tree on Rue de Saint-Gilles Lane endures the wintry gust.
Between you and me, this is why I don't get involved in local politics. So it goes. Now, what can I do for you? The Coldima Madakwa? Sorry, I would never have guessed that you were that interested in ultrasonic sounds. Or birds, for that matter. What an interesting development. Well, it's been a long while since I've gone hunting for the Coldima Madakwa. Once knew a group of young musicians who decided they didn't want to play music anymore, and started looking for all kinds of interesting... This was before, you know, lost touch with them after all of that. Cool or not, one of them was obsessed with recording the Coldima Madakwa. And he was one of those passionate people who know a lot about all kinds of strange things. So he got the rest of us to join in his search. We thought we did. We got together all these That really wasn't the point. After the Symphonia, we moved on to the sounds of office supplies or something like that. Unfortunately, I don't have any recordings from my old life. None at all. But I do have a tape with some ultrasonic sounds that might be what you're looking for.
Do we really have time for this?
All right.
The precarious world. How not to lose. It is impossible not to. The world is balanced on the edge of a knife. It's a game of frayed nerves. You're pushed on by numbers and punitive measures, pain, rejection, and unpaid bills. You can either play, or you can crawl under a boat and waste away. Turn into salt, or a flock of seagulls. Your enemies would love that. Or you can fight. The only way to load the dice is to keep on fighting.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you? Even I can see that. I told you not to bring your trouble, though I suppose you took the word. What do you expect? Police officers get put into dangerous situations all the time. Sometimes they get shot.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. This isn't just glass. These are old computation components. Yes, filament memories. From the time when wires were cast in glass, slides with an inlaid nervous system. The how was a closely guarded secret. Something that was locked in safes in human heads across the river where they were manufactured. As to why, your fingers don't know. The why is easy, because they hadn't come up with modern silicon-based systems yet. For vitreous cast filament memories, though, these seem incredibly advanced.
So it is. I think it is used to form a single system, slotted in the wall. The rest of the building seems to have been picked clean. These? No. These are old filament memories. I hope you're not expecting to find that device here. You will be disappointed.
All you'll find here is pain. The how, the why is easy, because they
I see the processing guys have been faster.
dome-shaped plastic buoy bobs. You lift the buoy out of the water without much effort. A shot glass's worth.
Well done.
Yes, what is it?
The mother of humanism.
Yo, man. What's on your mind? Dead body, spirit entered, sure.
Welcome back. Ouch. I did notice you limping, but I thought maybe it was your thing. When I was 16, I used to date this guy who had a limp, but it only showed when he was sober. So I guess it wasn't real or something. I don't know. Anyway, shot in the leg? I'm sorry. Man, that must suck.
Oh, hey, man. It's good to see you. Goodbye, officer.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in...
It's military. As the washerwoman mentioned a depot of the...
It may have been used to serve as an aerostatic battleship in the atmosphere. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand... An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. An old door, worn by elements. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle. You An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. An old door, worn by... Frank. An old door, worn by elements. You... An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then push. An old door, worn by... You rattle the handle a bit, then push. An old door, worn by... You rattle the handle a bit. An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind, you rattle... An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door. An old door, worn by elements. An old door, worn by elements. An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door with all your weight.
We don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the fact that you can't get in through every single door.
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's our perk. Even Everard knew that's a part of our MO.
Relax. No one's hiding in there. If we can't open it, others can't either. And thus they can't get in.
At least you can think about opening it, about doors in general. They are, after all, fundamental to your life. Perhaps something useful will come from this. An old door, worn by elements. An old door, worn by elements. An An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit. An old door worn by elements. 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 You rattle the handle a bit. An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit. An old door worn by elements guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see, an old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit. An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. You rattle the handle. An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by an old door worn by elements. You rep an old door worn by elements. You an old door worn by you. An old door worn by elements. You rattle the handle. An old door worn by an old door worn by you. An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit. An old door worn by elements. You an old door worn by an old door worn by an old door worn by you rattle the handle. An old door worn by you. An old door worn by an old door worn by elements. You an old door worn by you an old door worn by elements. An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit. An old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit. An old door, worn by elements. As you fold your fingers into a fist, you realize you could knock anyone out with one punch. The white ceramic gloves wrap around your digits comfortably. Your movements cause tiny little clicks, like dice rolling somewhere far away. As the plates reorient to your motions, I guess so. An old door, worn by elements, guards. An old door, worn by elements. An old door, worn by elements. Guard, you rattle the handle a bit. An old door, worn by elements. You An old door, worn by elements. You An old door, worn by elements. You An old door, worn by elements. An old door, worn by you. An old door, worn by you. Rattle the handle. An old door, worn by you. Rattle the hand. An old door, worn by you. Rattle the handle a bit. An old door, worn by an old door, worn by an old door, worn by you. Rattle the handle a bit. An old door, worn by an old door, worn by you. An old door, worn by an old door, worn by an old door, worn by element. An old door, worn by element. You rattle the handle a bit. An old door, worn by you. Rattle the handle. An old door worn by an old door worn by elements. An old door worn by an old door worn by elements. An old door worn by you rattle the handle. An old door worn by you. An old door worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then an old door worn by an old door worn by elements. You rattle the handle. An old door worn by an old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements guards the depot. The wind has blown us. old door worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then push on the door with all your weight. An old door worn by an old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by elements. You rep. An old door worn by elements. You rattle the. An old door worn by elements. 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 An old door worn by you rep. An old door worn by element. You rattle the handle a bit. An old door worn by. An old door worn by elements. An old door worn by. An old door worn by. You rep. An old door worn by. An old door worn by you. An old door worn by elements. You. An old door worn by elements. God. An old door worn by elements. old door, worn by elements. You rattle the handle a bit, then push.
We don't get in there. Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the fact that you can't get in through.
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's our perk. Even Everard knew that's a part.
Yeah, I understand you. I like opening doors as much as the next guy. But this one is simply beyond repair, and we don't have the resources needed to open it. Relax. No one's hiding in there. If we can't open it, others can't either. And thus they can't get in.
At least you can think about opening it. About doors in general. An old door, worn by elements.
It's military. A service depot. The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay.
It may have been used. The scruffy-haired little boy.
Our Canada policeman. I hope.
Don't call. Don't call her.
There's no way.
Man, you're like bleeding now. Reality's really messed you up. Wonderful. Not much, but it will do. The tale I'm about to tell you is an urban legend particular to Martinaise. That said, I first heard it from a former bicycle courier in Coran. There are many variations on the basic story, and the details often conflict. What everyone agrees on is that nobody knows the exact nature or identity of the phenomenon.
Are you telling the story of the headless...
Shut the fuck up, Rosemary. Summer of 44. 17-year-old Gertrude Hett is walking home from a late shift at the harbor.
The streets are warmed by a southerly breeze. The lights of a passing motor carriage bloom and fade in the distance. In the harbor's dark, her cigarette is a beacon, dancing alone. The image comes to you effortlessly, as though you'd walked the same streets yourself 1,000 times.
Our heroine finds herself enjoying the peace and quiet the canal provides. What she doesn't know is that her peace is about to be shattered. From behind her comes the clattering of hooves. Startled, she turns around, and what does she see? Well, yes, but it's the man on the horse that's of interest here. A man...
The pause is long and dramatic.
With no head on his shoulders. Wearing a found tracksuit, searching for the legendary found cap that went missing when he lost his head.
I thought that he rode a headless pig.
Well, there are many versions of this story, the most peculiar of which has the headless found rider riding on the back of another headless man. If I hadn't lost my keys that one time, I'd agree with you. But life is a cruel mistress. Gertrude Hett may have been the first to witness the headless found rider, but...
Tell him about the two feminists by the locks.
Fuck, Rosemary, they were dating. No one said they were feminists. Everyone always misremembering this stuff.
This wouldn't be the De Ponte Delgado case, would it?
What? You know it?
I've read the case file. But please, go on.
Right. Early autumn of 46. Ulla de Ponte and Eva Delgado are fishing near the waterlock long after the sun has set. The wind picks up. A sky already dark now blackens. Water starts falling from above. The first cold rain of the season.
Two women stand on a small outcropping of rocks. One of them is wearing a purple raincoat. Thin lines reach out from the rods into the sea. Small droplets start appearing on the surface within.
The women are caught in the downpour. They act quickly. Eva gathers the rods whilst Ulla turns around to reach for the tackle box.
Don't turn around. Don't turn around.
When she sees something, her shriek is so violent that the residents of the nearby apartment building believe lightning has struck. But there is no lightning. Only a heavy downpour and the silhouette of the headless found rider. Ulla makes a run for the shore, but Eva slips on a wet rock and disappears. Her body is never recovered.
Naturally, Ulla de Ponte became the prime suspect in the disappearance of Eva Delgado. De Ponte maintained that it was the so-called headless found rider and that she ran, fearing for her life. During the investigation, it became apparent that there was a love triangle, the third party being some small-time businessman. I don't remember the exact details. The leading theory was that an argument broke out on the jetty, and De Ponte pushed Delgado into the canal, then cooked up this stupid cover story. No, she committed suicide before she could be taken into custody. They found her in the bathroom with a rifle, her face slowly peeling off the ceiling. Not a pretty scene.
Man, that's some grisly detail. Oh well, here's to another case closed. Anyway, that's the story of the headless Faun Rider. Pretty crazy, huh? Well, Tequila, that's part of the legend. No one knows for sure. There are a couple of possibilities, though. Some say he was an undercover cop who blew his cover and got beheaded by the vicious gang he had infiltrated. Now he rides, searching for his lost found cap, plotting revenge. Others claim he was a professional jockey who veered off course during a steeplechase, ended up in somebody's backyard, and got decapitated by an exceptionally taut clothesline. Personally, I think he was just some guy who hanged himself from a really tall tree, and the fall was so violent that his head came clean off. Coincidentally, at that exact moment, a horse happened to pass under him, and his beheaded corpse mounted it, where it remains to this day.
For some reason, this does strike you as the most plausible theory of them all.
Isn't it? All the pieces fit together perfectly. That's how I know it's right. Anyway, to each his own. You want to hear any other stories?
Hard to argue with that, I suppose.
That's the reality situation for you. You think you got a handle on it, then blam! It throws some wild Yeah? Why don't you go eat shit, Tequila? There's no way you know a better one than that. I have to admit, that's pretty high concept. Still not as awesome as a headless rider in a found tracksuit, though. Yeah? Why don't you go eat shit, Tequila? There's no way you know a better one than that. Acid gnomes? Sounds like a stupid, low-concept band name. Yeah? Giants? That the best you got? Give me a break, Tequila. Yeah? Why don't you... Do you always try to pick the lamest option possible? Come on, Tequila! No one knows. Some say he stalks Martinez to this day, and can be seen near the canal when the clock strikes midnight. Ooh.
He won't, though, because it's just a stupid legend.
Aye, I saw him one night when I was right shit-faced.
I actually do have one. The Stranger... Do you have anything to fortify old Doom Spiral? Tell me you got some story juice. If you find any, I'd be extremely grateful.
The legend! He's back. And firstly, I got smokes. Bottoms up, Captain.
Man, you're like... Of course. Not much, but it will do. This last one is the most Martinet story I've ever heard. I've never heard it mentioned outside of here. At first, I thought it was a joke, to be honest. But I've been on the coast...
A shovel hits the sand somewhere behind the reeds, near an abandoned construction yard. The young men look over their shoulders suspiciously. The sound of their digging seems loud in the sudden silence.
Magic animals? No, man, this is serious stuff. No, Tequila. Most people already know where they live. This guy's... Hey, hey! Fuck you, Tequila. All kinds. I've seen archaeologists, gangsters, even a bunch of ad agency types. I'm telling you, Tequila, this thing's got a pull on certain kinds of people. You know, obsessive types. People with predilections. Some of those expeditions come back after a week or so, looking haggard and dejected. The first time I saw one of these expeditions, I thought they were fucking with me. There was no way it could be true. It was just too high concept, even for me. I'm not even sure I should be telling you this story, to be perfectly honest. You're in a fragile state, and it might be too much for you to handle. Okay, fine, I'll tell you. But I'm warning you, it's pretty out there. Our story begins at a legendary design studio, right here in Martinez. There was this designer. His exact name is lost to history, but in life, he was a legend. Made it big in Aranya, where he did some real pioneering work on grotesque and sans serif typography. A fucking genius, man. That is, if he even existed. Who knows? It's an urban legend, after all. Anyway, sometime later, he started his own personal studio here in Martinez. And that's when he started working on some really wild stuff. I'm talking some glass-smooth, forward-looking design language.
A paradigm-shattering revolutionary?
But then something turned. You see, it's widely known that nose candy and pioneer graphic design work go hand in hand. You've got to understand, the work this guy was doing was so high concept that regular amounts of cocaine just weren't cutting it. By the end, now, as you might imagine, snorting that much cocaine can't be healthy for a regular human, right?
Right. Wrong. It's super healthy. Your brain tells you so. And when has your own brain ever lied to you?
Hey, tequila, pay attention. The story goes that one day he was balls deep in work on what he thought would be his pièce de résistance, an advert so minimal it contained neither text nor images, just pure white. Apparently the idea was too high concept even for this genius. He dropped dead right at his desk before he could finish. His last words are recorded to have been, "It's as white as a blizzard of cocaine." But the story doesn't end there. Supposedly, when they performed the autopsy, the coroner discovered nearly a quarter kilo of coke jammed into his nasal cavity.
That's almost certainly anatomically impossible. Wrong again, nerd. Where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right. 250 grams of blow had accumulated in there over the years. We're talking high-grade Saramaritsian pure. Not that cut-rate shit your grandma does. There are those who believe the designer was buried with this quarter key of nose candy still lodged in his sinuses. That's what those expeditions are looking for.
The cocaine skull.
The cocaine skull. Here's the kicker. This designer, this lead designer of a world-famous design studio, was born in Martinez. A local boy, Martin Martinez. That's why he brought his studio here, back to where it all began. And that's why they buried him here, too. Or probably further down the coast, or in some yard in Martinez prop.
No, my grandma always told me his grave lay somewhere on the islets on the bay.
This is ludicrous and physically impossible. Sinuses can contain that amount of anything.
Now, detective. Always the skeptic. My only question is, where does one get a shovel?
The archaeologists say they want to put it in a museum. The gangsters say they want to sell it on the black market. And the ad agency guys say they're seeking inspiration.
Bullshit. They just want to snort it. But you could beat them to it, Harry. You could snort the magic skull cocaine instead.
I'm pretty sure they all just want to snort it, though.
And why wouldn't they, eh? Sounds like right strong stuff.
Don't listen to him or his grandma.
No, my grandma told me. I've heard other people say it too. That it's underwater. Or no, maybe it was the storm sewers.
Or maybe it's in the air. Or in an ancient state pyramid of...
In a pyramid? Now that would be something.
They're pretty vague about it in general. The gangsters like to claim they're looking for the grave of a friend. The archaeologists act all official about it, saying they're conducting serious research. The junkies, for some reason, are pretty upfront about it. They just say they're looking to snort some blow out of it.
Honest men on an honest quest.
By now, I'd say I know about as much about it as anyone on the coast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on just a minute. Finding it right now is literally impossible.
What?
For one, the way is blocked by that big lorry that says Delta Logistics Company on the side. You definitely have to search the area behind that lorry too, yet it is impassable. And second, outfitting an expedition like that is expensive. It'd have to be a big production to do the cocaine skull justice. You need new gear, people who know what they're doing, all kinds of provisions. It's just not feasible within the economic and temporal frame of our current setup. Matter of fact, unless a bunch of money just falls out of the sky, we might never know what's up with that skull.
I have to agree. We barely have what we need to solve the case we've got now. We can't afford to run around chasing after... Besides, it would look extremely bad for the RCM to be caught up in something that has the word cocaine writ large on it. The PR is tricky on this.
Wait, maybe there's another way. Maybe up around the coast? Don't give up now.
Yeah, well, that's the reality situation for you. Who knows, though? Maybe someday... Not that I can think of, currently. That might be the case, yes.
One more door. There is no way to open the supply depot door. Accept it. You cannot open all the doors. You have to integrate this into your character. Some doors will forever remain closed, even if every single other door will open at one time or another. Maybe to a key, or maybe to some sort of tool meant for opening doors. But this one will never accede to such commands. A realization crucial to personal growth. Crucial.
Officer, what happened? You're wounded. Why are you wounded? You look terrible. Is this from the shooting in town? We heard gunshots. Not that we don't hear gunshots all the time, but they were closer than usual.
There was an exchange of fire on Rue de Saint-Guylaine. It's nothing to be worried about, madame.
That's nothing to brag about, officer.
It's not serious. He'll be okay.
You feel the ligament move on your left shoulder, and a small, warm drip of blood. It's nothing.
So you're a killer? That's good, I guess. Better than being dead. I've always taken you for one, that's for sure. Not a lot of RCM men who aren't killers. Of course. Can I help you with something? That won't be a problem. It's wind still and the tar just dried. We've got 2 days of relative sunshine ahead. I'm sad to hear that. Take care of that with Ether, will you? Don't get too many RCM men round here. Used to be some kind of fortification there before the war. For the communards. An anti-aircraft gun, I think. Bombed to bits in the landing. I haven't been there myself. Always steered clear of it.
Hasn't been there herself. Who has then?
My husband used to drink there. Him and his drinking buddies. Always seemed like a bad place to drink to me. People died.
This must be one of the many fortifications that was used in the dying days of the revolution.
The kids sometimes go there too. I know they do, on rafts. I tell them not to, but they bring back old bullet cases. The twins. God forbid they bring the girl along on some rickety barge.
Can we maybe ask your twins about that place?
Be my guest. They've a strange way of talking. See if you can get anything useful out of them. I seldom do. Well, most of it's sunken. Underwater. That means concrete underwater. Cut your boat if you're not careful.
Aye, aye, Captain.
If you promise to bring it back, and no scraping the hull. I just got it nice and yellow. And no drinking on the boat.
Of course, ma'am. It's only for a day or two. Official police business.
Aye.
The crow's feet disappear from the corners of her eyes as she smiles at you.
Please be conservative with the fuel, will you? Just filled her up, but it's a small tank.
The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone.
And that iron. That's, nothing. It's just a seafort and some plants. You can take a raft there. It's great. And we make a fire. We make a fire. Gather the sticks for the fire. And bullets. Oh, not real bullets, empty bullets.
Bullet shells. There are a lot of them left over from the war, but this could be important.
I don't know what those are. They're lights. The fire guy comes and asks us to put the fire out.
They must mean a human being on that island.
No. Yes.
Let's go with yes.
Because he asks to put the fire out. I don't know. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like people to be there. You shouldn't go. Yes. I don't know.
Did you mean there are...
Yes. No, he doesn't live there. No, he lives there. Been there twice, 2 times. He doesn't live there. He isn't there sometimes.
Anything else?
I don't know. We ran. He just yelled we shouldn't be there. Our father killed himself. Don't say that, he didn't. I don't know. Doesn't even have anything to do with this, you. Father isn't the fire guy.
The two things are unconnected. Your question didn't make sense.
There's
Lights, fire guy. We should check up on that island.
A skiff with a small steering engine in the back floats on the calm. The boat's belly is a shiny yellow color, industrial paint. Once you get in, that's it. One pull of the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trip. Have you made all the necessary preparations? Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this. East Delta Commerce Center. This must be the name of the looks like someone has melted. You ring the doorbell. You ring the... What an ominous name for a hit. All you hear is stat. You wait for a minute or two. Silence. They have found. Silence. No one... Nothing happens after you ring the door. Silence. No one answers you. This button.
This button looks...
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? I'm listening. Good.
All around you, the hisses and chirps of locusts fill the musky air. The earthen floor of the shack has been shaped into mounds of mud, dotted with little holes for windows. Like skyscrapers, spires of dirt and sand rising.
Well, detective, it appears you've solved the case of the locusts. For the missing locust case, which is a sub-case of the imaginary insect case. So at least that's going well. Yes, I feel we are nearing a real breakthrough. If anything, the presence of the locust points to the opposite. The phasmid did not take the bait from the traps. It was Kuno. The phasmid doesn't exist. But what do I know?
Use your powers of deduction. You knew the magic bug was nowhere near here. The phasmid is impairing your judgment.
I'll let you handle the Kuno side of things. You are doing just fine.
Fuck does Kuno care? The fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister. Yeah? The kingdom of... Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give the fuck about it. You're
Get lost,
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel a metallic drawer, the pull-out toolbox.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a...
10-4, come in, officer. Over. Ten four, sir. Well, there's been some talk, sir. I only meant that there's been some talk in the station, that's all. But there's always some talk in the station. You know how officers in Jamrock are. But then again, some of us truly are on the take. It's unfortunate. Over. 10-4, I know I already wrote it in a report, but it will stay on my desk for a few days. Over. 10-4, sir, roger that, and very glad to hear it. I will make relevant changes to the report. Roger that, 10-10, over and out.
This is Precinct 57. How may I... Does this... Sylvia? Yes. Oh, great. What else do you need, Detective? No? Not me. Yeah, go on.
You hear the...
Anything else I can help you?
Something is wrong. Only no reply.
It's been this way for a while now. It only happens when someone mentions...
Silence. The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. There's something odd about the passenger seat. One of them, but there's definitely perfume in the air. It's spicy, with a hint of amberette. The remnants of a sweet juniper-scented perfume. Probably Grenade No. 5. The actresses and the looks like...
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be...
The ghostly actresses and the rusty toolbox under the driver's seat. Closed. The skiff floats on the car. Once you get in, that's it. Have you made all the necessary Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going...
What? Fine. Let's blast Sad FM then.
Sad FM is a radio station specializing in sad, slow rock songs. You seem to know its frequency by heart.
What? Fine.
Sad FM.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Eternally.
The boat comes to a slow stop. The lieutenant turns the engine off. Then there's silence. In the silence, a sputter of wings. A flock of quails takes off in the distance.
Let's go.
The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
Ah, yes, so it seems. For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
As a defensive measure, locking off that side of the bay.
From enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe. Technically, no, it doesn't.
He's right. The dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away, birds' wings touch the still surface of the sea. The flock of quail departs, now more than 100 meters away, 102. On the islet, there is almost no wind under the rain quietly falling on the reeds, bulrushes swaying on the waterline, long dried leaves chafing against each other, the soft raindrops, like a silent orchestra tuning at the beginning of some major work. of great importance to the few who attend. A silent hiss, sea air moving through the needles of a pine tree. The faraway roar of the city, distant like today's dream. Before it, the sound of sand, the low tide filtered through its grains. Raindrops fall on water, strangely quiet, forming circles in the distance. A low hum. The air slowly moves through a concrete box, through its ancient slits and cracks, resonating, hollow. Air flows out of a pillbox window. There is very little there. The air cossets flowers on a meadow. Absolute silence. Reeds, a drop of rain falls on a black log of a col de Mamadakwa.
Yes?
Momentarily, the sounds are swept away. Pain shoots up your right foot and into your groin.
I have. Is that why we're stopping?
The lieutenant nods in silence.
Yes?
Momentarily, the sounds are swept away. Pain shoots up your right foot and into your...
It is. Is that why
The lieutenant nods in silence. ICM? This feels familiar somehow.
Insulindian Citizens Militia. It's the official name of the Communards Army, the black and white army of the revolution.
Sounds an awful lot like.
It does. The RCM may descend from the ICM. It's impossible to say. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals.
Nice political thoughts rush through your neocortex. A mediocre athlete would pant from dragging around his body on a busted crutch. But not you. You're thinking about politics, with blood dripping down your thigh.
There were all sorts of groups and groupuscules back then. It doesn't really matter. No, an upside-down star.
With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
No, that's the uninhabited
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda, known as the Fate.
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Gefreiter. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Oh, it does. The RC, it's impossible to...
Nice, but a mediocre athlete would pant from dragging around his body on a busted crutch. But not you. You're thinking about politics, with blood dripping down your thigh.
No one remembers the ICM. The connotation is less important each year.
old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Wait, haven't you heard this before?
Downstairs, somewhere? Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter.
The lieutenant pauses. Something seems to be pecking at the edge of his concentration. He gives you a sideways look before adding,
long and cold.
A hollow ring. The canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the...
I don't know. I'm not a philosopher. Someone with basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm. Maybe it's the fire guy.
The wind outside picks up suddenly. There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft-cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracal blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
A flash of pain interrupts you, making you wince instead of letting the words out.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead. Yes, anytime. If you need a rest later, it's okay by me.
You don't have to be a hero. The greasy old spring...
The offer still stands. Take it. You don't look so good.
The bed is quite inviting, all things considered. It's much warmer inside than out there. You face the concrete wall. There's less light there, in the dark corner. You didn't realize how tired you were. Your body is still nowhere near healed. The blanket feels cold. The entire room does. Concrete and cold. Minutes pass. Half an hour maybe. The sounds of the sea beyond grow distant. Your eyelids close until you feel yourself standing up in the darkness, right next to the mattress. Slowly, the world begins to hatch from the blackness. It's evening. Sleep. This way you're already talking. But you don't even want to talk to her. She would only be cold and mean. Let her go. Let her go? This is the Holy Queen of the territories of Muindi and Insulinda. Think of the historic knowledge we could glean. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win her back. Win her back? How does that fit in here? And what is the Holy Suzerain doing here anyway?
Just my scepter, my globe cruciger, a spare silk gown, a toothbrush, travel documents, the crown of immortality. Oh, this. This is just a wreath. The crown of immortality is made of rarefied light, mana and raw palladium. It was passed on to me by the rulers of late antiquity.
She looks at the suitcase, not knowing what more to say, then over her shoulder.
Anyway, I'm going to Morova, to live there in Grad. It's 1,000,000 kilometers away, Harry. Might as well be another lifetime. Hey. I'm doing really good, actually. Both professionally and romantically. I've come to a fulfilling and peaceful period in my life. Well, how are you doing, Harry? Don't say that. I know this positive thing sounds stupid to you, Harry, but it works. We all have an obligation to be happy. You too. And you will be. Now.
This is everything I always warned you about.
Hey. I'm doing really good, actually. Well, I'm in my head too. We're all in our heads. Sometimes, not as often as I used to. So much time has passed. More than it seems here. It doesn't sound like you're better at all, Harry. It doesn't even sound like you're a moralist. It just sounds like you want to win me back or something. I don't want you to try that anymore, okay? It's too sad. I need to go.
Total annihilation. We got annihilated, Harry. It wasn't about responsibility at all. It was always only about you having no power at all. Over her, yourself, anything. That's why they didn't take you on that airship. You're insane without her.
We both said a lot of things. We were very young.
It was her. I can feel it. I can see it in her tender, long fingers, in her wrists. Her hand wrote it, said those things.
As Queen Regnant, I write a lot of letters.
You need to recite it to her, for effect. All of it. No summaries.
Please, Harry, I just don't have time for this. Okay, stop. Yes. Are you happy now? Then why are you doing this? Very well. I wrote it. It was morning. You slept. There was hoarfrost on the ground when I left, on Voyager Road. It was autumn. The first autumn. But Harry, please understand, it was 1,000,000 years ago. No, it was 100 million years ago. I was someone else then, filled to the brim with love for you. Hanging on your every word. Oh, Harry, you were the coolest. But I am no longer that person. This has taken her place. It will devour you. Harry, I will eat your mind.
The light of the video rental shines through her dress now. A DeLorean figure, cut in black, moves below. It's still her. Her legs, her breasts, her hips.
The coolest. With your leather jacket and your boot-cut pants, smoking in the bus stop. I wanted you to be the rest of my life that day. And you were. Some of it, at least. You were my first. My first kiss. My first time to have sex. The first and worst time I fell in love. I will always have that with me. It's a fact. But that is all it is. It's like a ticket stub, Harry. It doesn't do anything anymore. Yes, let's talk about that too. Let's bring it up, the zoo. In Le Jardin, the day we went east of the river, to the aquarium first. I was sad about my mother. I don't even know why. The shimmer of the fish tank on my face. The octopuses. It was just a day then, but to think. Were we there now, you could touch my hair, kiss me. Talk to me about anything. Go virtually anywhere in the world. Not like now. Now our interactions are limited to pain and regret.
That's sharp and precise.
No, it's all you. I always loved you for it, but it could not save us. It could not make me stay. In the end, your mind just told you precisely how bad things are. And who would want to stay around for that? And my crown of immortality? No. You scared her out of me. With your crying, the awful time we wound up having, and the cheap rental flats you could afford. Can't you see? I can never think you're cool again. I can only think that way about new people.
You're a better man now, with a rank in a powerful armed organization.
No, it's too late. I found someone for whom I feel the same love I did for you. Only this time, he is more careful. He will not lose me. It will go somewhere. It will grow. Harry, do you notice how none of this is very funny?
She smiles mysteriously, looking east, then turns her gaze back to you. The smile is gone.
42. That is the light rail that took me to Coron, to school and work. Every morning. It's the same stop I met you at, Harry. 100,000 million years ago. No human being should still remember the position of atoms such eons ago. It must feel unnaturally sad. A sadness so ancient, it is shared even by archaebacteria. Is there really anything left? If not, we can always repeat one of the things we have already talked about. Talk about it again. If you do not feel like doing that, you should let me go to the aerodrome. I don't know what you mean. Dolores Day. Oh, Harry, you shouldn't have done that. Call me like that.
You ruined it. There was still a chance. You should have waited longer. She would have called you instead.
Oh, Harry, do you really think so? We haven't talked in years. I don't want to call you. I don't want to hear from you. I think of you less and less every year. Weeks go by without me remembering you. Months already. Soon it will be years. Every season that passes, the light gets less clear. I sit there in Morova, in the holy gratitude of my bliss. I put my hand on my belly and smile.
The air gets cold around you. She looks down on her stomach, then up at you. Her eyes are full of tremendous distance and mystery. The death blow is coming. Black-eyed dogs wander the alleys. Apple trees hang their bony limbs low over the patchwork of roofs. Red and black. Revachol West the evening sun. She's left and bloomed, far away from us, our vast soul. It's Dora. That's what the voice said on the phone. Dubois, yes. Dora Dubois.
Why what? Oh no. No. We're not doing that again.
That was not the death blow yet. You saved yourself. For now. Keep stumbling around and it will happen.
Wasn't I Dolores Day just a second ago? Now I'm the X thing? You're confusing me. Look, I have to be at the Lausanne Aerodrome at 10:20 p.m. I haven't even bought the tickets yet.
We all told you. Everyone warned you.
Everyone. Literally all of you.
I'm glad too, but I have to go. My friends are waiting for me on the platform. I can't let them wait. It's impolite.
She does not look back. Instead, eyes her fingernails. They're bitten frayed. The evening wind blows in. The gown wraps around her like a white flag.
The morning? I don't understand. Oh my God, Harry, stop. I don't want to hear anything about the morning. Mourning someone who's still alive. Any of that. I can't do that anymore. I'm not 80 years old, I'm 32. People my age are not supposed to mourn. Yes, Harry, I am. Things have gotten much better for me, now that I am the ruler of the known world. Oh God, it's already so late. I have to go, Harry.
A tiny golden watch with red straps around her bony little wrists.
I have to, Harry. Really, I've already missed the 8:30. I'm gonna go now.
Lies, sire. She cannot but love you. She has said so 100 times.
Light, life, culture. It's so much better than here. Everything here reminds me of you, and the horrible times we had. The nights we stayed up fighting for our dying love. I have to wipe it all off me and be clean again. I want to be a good person again. Not this. Not what you made me into. That was someone else. I betrayed her, overwrote her, and I'm happier for it. And I'm really going now. The time is up. I must be on the 10:20 flight. I won't see you, but you will see me. Oh, Harry, this is a dream. Can't you see? I'm already in Morova by now. Who knows how long ago this happened? A year? 2? 5 years ago? Right here, tomorrow night. Once this dream starts happening, it keeps happening. 3 times a week, at least. And Harry, it really, really looks like it started happening again. There's the video rental. I'm suffocatingly beautiful and young, and I smell of tutti frutti chewing gum, like I did that time when I asked you for forgiveness, after leaving you the first time, so long ago. Oh yes, this is real darkness. It's not death or war or child molestation. Real darkness has love for a face. The first death is in the heart, Harry. See you tomorrow.
You're up quick. How was your sleep? Okay.
He's still worried. You must have really thrashed and squealed in your sleep. Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly, most are soft covers. Serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures. Popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T.T. Harpin, husband and wife. Widely read by people from all walks of life. Who doesn't like nature? Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Soft covers, serialized fantastique. Oh yes, under the bed, there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Ouzia. It's not exactly like reading.
Ouzia. I agree. Humanitarian sciences. It stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Ravachol West.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him. Wasn't there some in the communist students' room?
Well, yes. That one student did.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous entertainment covering them.
Again, I am not a philosopher, but whoever has lived here, they have some education and a certain set of interests.
Interesting. The greasy old spring mattress lies in the corner. A small metal door nested inside a larger one. A heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
Alright, I retract my statement. It was naive. Let's look around and get it open.
The heavy metal door stands. This old cylindrical generator waits with its fuel cap open.
Downstairs, somewhere?
Green paint flicks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and
the console of an anti-computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out. Possibly. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radio diffusé. It sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights, function as a radio computer. The dial slides under the glass, silently. You make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, Feld Insula. An idea lights up in your head.
This is an air-gapped system. Of air, I think they call it. That won't work. No, I'm not. But it would not be very good military technology if programmer ladies could control it remotely. Also, it's ancient. Incompatible.
Nothing happens.
We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator, it didn't look like there was fuel in it. We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it.
The boat engine.
My kinema. I don't want to do that. Let's...
The console stands by, mute. A strange feeling, looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea. Leave it all and walk in. Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you, where it has always been, smelling of tutti frutti and betrayal. Yes, cold and still, but love is warm like the inside of her mouth. Oh fuck, yes. Go there in your head. It's been days since you thought about her. A week. No, we're not starting with that. Not now. Not this time. This thought is over. In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down. Islets and posts, like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go. Step in. It's been too long.